Good morning, everyone. Daniel Linder here, marriage family therapist, practicing in the San Francisco Bay Area for over 30 years. I'm an addiction specialist and a relationship trainer, and I created the relationship model of addiction. So for the last several weeks and up to including today, I am focusing on this second stage of recovery, which I call a period of intensive self-work, learning how to take care of yourself, self-care, developing a relationship with yourself, being your own best friend. On that note, I'm going to shift over to the theme and the practice for today to develop that relationship with yourself is this: simply asking yourself, what's best for me? So whenever you find yourself in a relating situation and there's something up, there's some kind of conflict, there's some kind of issue up, the practice is to stop, pause, breathe, check yourself out, and ask yourself this question. This may seem a little cumbersome and a little contrived, but it's just a practice, and it's kind of cumbersome at the beginning. But what's best for me? What's best for me? And you need to allow a space there for an answer to emerge. If and when an answer emerges, the next step in this process is to consciously put taking care of yourself above your fear of what might happen, how the other person might respond, what might happen to the relationship. So you're deciding that taking care of yourself is more important than that. And it's this next step to do this, to decide that taking care of yourself is putting that above your fear of what might happen. When you do that, you could use this as a measuring stick for whether how healthy your relationship with yourself is. So in other words, if you're able to act, then you check yourself out, you figure out you have to express yourself, or you have to do something to take care of yourself, and you feel clear and strong and free and confident when you do that, then that's a good indication that your relationship with yourself is strengthening. However, if you stop and you start feeling self-doubt and hesitation and insecurity and let the fear of how the other person might respond and what might happen to the relationship halt you or inhibit you from responding, then you're back into probably addictive, codependent, other-centered paradigm, which is where your well-being and your self-worth is externally based. That's what you're trying to get away from. So if you know that you can't express yourself and stand up for yourself and take care of yourself freely, confidently, and feel really strong and not looking back about it, not doubting yourself, then if you can't do that, chances are you're falling back into your other-centered, codependent paradigm way of operating. Now, so let me give you a couple of examples of how this might play out. So let's say you're in a relationship and the person you're talking to, let's say Alice and Al and Alice. Al feels that oftentimes whenever he's talking to Alice dismisses him. He tries to let her know, for example, that what's bothering him was something she did or said bothered him, or that she's doing is bothering him. She gets defensive and dismisses what he's saying, and he walks away feeling demoralized, discouraged, dismissed, just really, really frustrated because he can't make this connection, get this understanding with Alice happening. So what he does then is that he stops. He feels really bad. He's feeling increasingly more resentful and angry, and maybe having doubts about the relationship and Alice. And what's best for me? What's best for me? What do I need here? And he gets in touch with that what he really needs is to be heard. He just wants to be heard. So he realizes in this moment of self-talk and just being with yourself in that relationship that he realizes that in order for him to be heard, he is going to have to speak and say something. In order for him to be seen, he's going to have to show up. In order for him to take care of himself, he's going to have to adjust. In order for him to protect himself and to take care of himself, he's going to have to adjust himself emotionally, maybe pull back, maybe put more emphasis on himself, but make some kind of adjustment. Because if he's not taking care of himself, ain't no one else going to take care of him. So he has this kind of inner dialogue, and then he's able to come back and let Alice know some of the communications we've talked about in the past. What's bothering me is I don't feel heard. What I really need right now is for you to listen to me and, for me to feel like you're hearing me. This isn't working for me. The way this goes. I'm just feeling dismissed and unheard when I'm talking to you, and it's not working, it's not okay, this is not how I want the relationship to be, but just start coming out with what his experience is, what's working, what's not, what's frustrating, and letting her know, and staying on it, even if he gets dismissed again, even if she gets defensive, to continue to come out with what he's needing, and eventually, I believe Alice will come around and finally get him, because he's so consistent and he's so loud and clear, and she can't help but finally see, oh, so you're not being heard. You don't feel like I'm hearing you. You might have a point there, because I'm always distracted, or I'm reactive, or I'm defensive. So that's an example of how this might work. Another example is, let's say you're dating. Let's say you're dating someone, or you're with someone. You're in a relationship with someone, a developing relationship with someone, and that person is coming on too strong, or assuming more of a relationship than there is, or building you up, saying how much he cares about you and all the things that she wants to do with you, and make all these plans with you, and you're getting really overwhelmed because you're not where she is, and actually you're having a lot of mixed feelings about the relationships, and you have a clearly different experience. So in this case, what he would stop, pause, what's best for me, what's best for me, what's best for me right now, and taking care of himself above his fear of how the other person might respond. And he decides to just kind of back up emotionally, pull back, detach a little bit, create some space, and not respond too much. And well, there are a lot of variations to this. It could be on the phone, it could be texting, it could be face-to-face. But what he's ultimately going to do is not respond, not meet her where she is, but to back up, close down a little bit, and limit the amount of contact and engagement he has with her. And that would be a way for him to take care of himself, so he doesn't get so close to her and caught up in all of her drama and all of her excitement or intensity, or her sense of what she wants in the relationship, and her illusions of what the relationship might be. So I hope that was clear. This is a practice where at the beginning it's going to feel really, really weird, but if you keep doing it and get into a zone where you're conditioned, you get into the habit of asking yourself, what's best for me, what's best for me, what's best for me, and coming from that place, eventually it's going to become second nature, and you won't have to stop and do this kind of regimen, or this process that I'm talking to you about. So what's best for me? What's best for me is the key, the theme today, and the practice. So I would like you to, I'm going to wind this down now, and I feel free again to leave some comments below that I could respond to and continue this dialogue with you. And until then, the quality of your relationships is the quality of your life.